Hey everyone, Turf MD here. Just going to talk about fertilizers today. Basically, in general, all fertilizer that's being done on the golf course, in my opinion, should be based on soil testing. Um, with that being said, you want to basically address any nutrient deficiencies that you have based on your soil tests. So you go out, you collect some core samples, soil samples from individual parts of your golf course. So for example, you collect them from your greens, keep those cores together, send them away, you get a sample, and you kind of have a baseline of the fertility that's in your greens. And you can address, deficiencies and also excesses based on those soil tests. One of the main differences between, I think, my fairways and the greens is basically on greens, I'm almost solely down to using liquid fertilizer, still based on soil tests, but every week I give a tiny bit of nitrogen, a little bit of primary macronutrients, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, some micros, and basically the only granulars that I'll put down on the golf course greens are calcium and potassium. The potassium, I'll put a pound of nitrogen out in the late winter, early spring as soon as I see some root growth. And with the calcium, that's basically based on soil tests. But if I'm deficient in calcium, I put out about 10 pounds per thousand of calcium. So about a bag per green. Calcium, good for strong bones and healthy teeth. My main goal when fertilizing a golf course is basically trying to keep the goal in mind of what I'm trying to achieve. And we're trying to achieve a playing surface for a sport, right? Gonna tee it up, go play some golf. That's what we're trying to do with our fertilizers, prepare the golf course for play. What I mean by that is I tend to think of fertilizer not just in terms of how much fert do we need to put out, what deficiencies do we have, are we over fertilized, under fertilized, do we need specific nutrients, what deficiencies do we have, etc. After all that, I'm basically focusing on leaf blade thickness. So you could think of it as on my greens, I like to have skinny leaf blades. So I will be very, very judicious and cautious with the amount of fertilizer that I use on greens. Just enough to keep them healthy, actively growing. Uh, but it's all about maintaining a smooth, ultra fast putting surface. And I think one of the keys is to maintain skinny leaf blades. Now, when I think about tees, fairways, collars, approaches, I want the leaf blades to be maybe medium thickness. Think about a fairway. I don't want super skinny, thin leaf blades in the fairway because I don't want you to have a thin, skinny lie. When you sow your club behind a golf ball in one of my fairways, I just want you to have an absolutely perfect lie. And no matter where you move that ball in the fairway, you will not have a better lie because every single square inch is perfect unless you're in a divot. And I think part of that comes from fertility management in terms of literally just managing leaf blade thickness, and that comes through nitrogen, which nitrogen, we don't get soil testing based on nitrogen. That is, use of nitrogen is based on experience, skill, touch and feel, if you will. So what I like to do with nitrogen in terms of greens is use less to keep the leaf blades skinny. In fairways, approaches, anytime you're going to have the ball on the ground and you're going to hit a shot from it, I like to have the leaf blades a little bit thicker just to give you a little bit of a perfect lie, let's say. A perfect lie. Whereas if your fairways are hungry and the leaf blades are skinny, you're going to have a thin lie, and that isn't what I'm trying to achieve with my fairways. So overall, I think that I'll apply more granular to my shortcut in terms of approaches, fairways, and tees. And I'm basically backing off on granular fertilizers on greens except for potassium and calcium. But for the most part, I like to regulate the leaf blade thickness and the fertility on greens using liquid fertilizers. And obviously that's pretty much what most of the industry is doing nowadays, going at every 2 weeks with light liquid applications of fertilizer just to keep it nice and even throughout the whole growing season. You don't have any peaks or valleys in your fertilizer. And I think that's what the turf responds to best. So I'm not going to get too technical on fertilizer, the use of fertilizer. I just think in general, everything that I do in terms of fertilizer is based on soil testing. When it comes to nitrogen, it's based on experience, skill, touch, and feel, and what we're trying to achieve with each playing surface. So I hope you guys got something out of that. I know it's not a super technical, in-depth, like chemical, like it's not this isn't a video based on chemistry. It's more of an overall general view of how you want to use fertilizer, I think. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today, guys. I will see you soon. Have a good day.